Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will. We have another special guest for you today. Can't wait for my best friend and co-host, Nick Menard, to introduce. But without further ado, let me go ahead and first get some of the logistics out of the way. Make sure you subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win. Come on now. We know what you got to do. Spread the word. We want to interact with our winners. And as always, please make sure to subscribe, share, and follow. And want to thank Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations for sponsoring today's episode. But enough of me. Let me pass the baton to my co-host so he can introduce today's guest.
Thank you so much, Will. Yes, that's my pleasure today to introduce to you someone very special in the travel industry, in the world of travel that we're in. So this person, she's a seasoned travel industry expert with over 25 years of experience. As Director of National Accounts and Business Development at Regent Seven Seas Cruises, she drives strategic partnership, revenue growth, and brand excellence. With a strong background in sales, leadership, and business development, she has played a pivotal role in luxury travel. Beyond her career, she's a dedicated mentor, speaker, and advocate for women empowerment. A proud mother and grandmother, she enjoys family, cooking, and even moonlighting as a NASCAR driver. I have a lot of questions about that. So without further ado, I want to introduce you all to Mrs. Shanel Knight. Thank you so much, Shanel, for joining our podcast today. Really appreciate your time and wisdom.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor.
No, absolutely. So, as always, we like to start by opening the door to you to introduce you better than what I just did, with your own words about your experience in travel, why choosing the travel industry, and then we can go from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Nick and Will, for the opportunity. But a little bit about myself. If you can't hear it in my voice, I love what I do. I have one of the best jobs in the world, and I get to tell and share some amazing experiences, stories, and help my partners overcome different obstacles and be successful. My aha moment is never always, Chanel, I sold this suite on Regent. What I love to hear is you tell me, Chanel, I will never forget it's my first time in the new training at Dream Vacations. And that was 7 years ago. And I have to tell you, my business now, we're in the COE and we are doing gangbusters and, to talk about your successes and achievement and how far you've come. I really love to see the growth because when you're selling travel, whether it's Regent or anyone else, we all win. That's the beauty of it. There's this pie is so large for everybody to have a nice slice, okay? And it's not that I have to hoard everything in my world, although luxury continues to grow exponentially, right? So it's just a matter of when one wins, we all win. So the beauty of my world also is connecting with folks in all walks of life. When you're buying your franchises, when you're coming into the industry for the very first time, for many, it's a second career, right?
Mhm.
So whether you bring your marketing expertise, networking skills, maybe you bring your affluent database, maybe it's connecting people together, but maybe it's from the entertainment side, whatever skill set you bring, it truly will melt very well and mix into the travel industry where we can bring different, I love to say, communities together. We bring them together for many liked interests, right? And like at Regent, with our partnerships, whether that be, I talked about NASCAR, but we have a partnership with Formula One, Aston Martin race team.
Oh, very
So yes, which is super exciting. But then you have other ways in which we know our guests love art. We can, bring more first-time guests into the market that connected because of their love for art, right? So it's ways in which we can create new memories because that's priceless, especially in a post-pandemic world. We also, have the ability to make a difference. and the lives of so many folks. So having the opportunity to wake up every day and do that, many have heard me at National Conflict say
I did.
time and time again, or even on a webinar, I reinvent myself every year. And being in this industry, knowing, so many folks, it's one where you must be forward thinking. You must be open to growth. And I love that because it's one where learning is always trending. People say, what's trending? What's trending, Chanel? Learning. I learn every single day, all day. And the behavior of the guests, the prospects, the behavior of the market, just seeing the world today, right? So it's one where you get to be not just a curator. Oftentimes you're a friend. Um, your partnership means a lot to me. Your business is great and Team Regent really appreciates it. But your friendship means more to me. So it's having that genuine relationship with my partners and whether I'm working directly with them, indirectly with them. I absolutely love that. And that is why I do what I do.
I love that, Chanel. I think, we have 3 episodes on our podcast. Of course, this one is Wanderlust Wednesday, where we talk about travel. But on Monday, we have Mindset Monday. I think it will be good for both because you also talk very profoundly about why some people are successful in life and in business in general. And I think because of your authenticity and the fact that you are able to, you love people and you relate with them. And I think if you can do that, you will be successful in customer service, which is eventually why so many people are successful in business, is because they nailed that part, like the aspect of relationship and collaboration. So I love everything you said today so far. It's just picobello, fantastic. I love it. So let's pivot a little bit, and for those, I mean, maybe there are some who don't know really well who Regent is. So can you tell us in your own words, what Regent stands for and why people should be looking at Regent for their future cruise?
Well, thank you so much again. That's a great question, and it's a loaded one. And I say that in a great way because at Regent, it's always going to be fancy, right? So the thing about this is, and I'll tell you this, I came from the Norwegian side of the business over 21 years. And I stayed at Norwegian for the time in which I did because I never felt passionate about going anywhere. And having been on over 200 cruises across the industry, whether it's mega ship, small ship, river cruise ships, you name it, I experienced it firsthand. And when we acquired Oceania and Regent over the years, I was part of working with some of the team, and I said, now there's a brand I believe in. And it's funny because the team was like, I think you've outgrown the NCL brand. It's time for you to move to Regent. And it's been second nature since coming to the side because in discovering the brand, what the first thing that came to mind is that's not a filter. What you see is what you get when you come to Regent. It's not a stuffy and pretentious brand. And what I find is many of my partner friends throughout the industry, especially those looking to shift their focus to sell more luxury, it's the number one thing that sort of deters them, and they're like, "Okay, I'll get to it, I'll get to it." And it's because it's such an elevated experience, many really are, like, sort of, intimidated by the price point. And once you learn the story behind that price point, and you think of yourself as a consumer, you'll realize I'm that consumer too. I want the best out there. And whether you're a man or woman, whatever the case may be, if you want a pair of shoes, I love Jimmy Choos and everyone knows. But I'm also looking at some Manolos for this year's conference season. But my friends at Jimmy Choo aren't happy about that. But it's one where when you find that one item, right? Maybe it's Hermes or whatever the brand may be, you can justify the spend on that one upscale item. Well, I can wear with this, I can pair it with this, I can do this, I can do that. Okay, so over time, yes, that justifies my spend. Well, guess what? That's what today's luxury client is saying as well. They're looking at the value proposition. They're looking at whether it makes most sense. And Regent checks that box. No matter where in the world. You said Wanderlust. I say Wanderlust list all the time because buckets aren't sexy. They're not. It's always the Wanderlust list, right? Well, guess what? Regent travels to so many hidden jewels all throughout the world, over 550 destinations. So it's like, where in the world would you like to go and how would you like to see it? That's also the beauty of the side of the brand. It's that client that's looking for the finest, but not stuffy and pretentious. It's that client that's still working, believe it or not. Some think of Region and think, oh, everybody's old and rich. Ah, no, they're not. Believe it or not, our key persona, our number one persona out of the four we have is an active explorer. That client is still, or prospect is still working. Uh, Whether they're married or not, they love the finer things in life. They are the wealthiest. That is the number one persona. It's the greatest percentage of travelers out there right now. And guess what? They spend because, just because they have it. They have, it's no object to them. So value proposition is okay. But you know what? I deserve it. So I'm going to take advantage of it. So it's learning how to take this wealth of information to plug and play depending on the audience. Like it's learning. The best advice I give personally and professionally is know your audience. Therefore, you know which avenue to explore to exhaust at any given time. Because if we start off with families, okay, families, I need connecting rooms or suites and Regent, because life is sweet. We're all suites on Regent, no matter the vessel. But whether it's a girls' trip, they decide, I want to go this route. We don't have to connect. We just want to be on the same ship together. So again, knowing your audience and understanding them, listening. Listening is key. So it's one where we've learned over the years and we've taken an even more in-depth approach to really focus on this particular client, this guest. And it's four personas. There's an understated traditionalist, that's your retirees, not your wealthiest audience. There's the active explorer, as I mentioned. That's your greatest percentage and your wealthiest audience. There's also a next generation jet setter because they'd had a taste of luxury. They loved it. So you're tapping them on the shoulder as that amazing travel curator say, guess what? You love that and it's here for you. Regent checks that box. And then the last persona is the refined rejuvenator that just also likes the finest in life. So it's learning how to have this conversation, tell this story in such a manner, and show them here's what you deserve because you stay at Fairmonts, because you have a Rolex watch, but yet you have a smartwatch, because you travel business class, because you like the finer things in life. And well, for the understated traditionalist, the value proposition is number one for them. So it's learning so much about your audience first and foremost to be able to market effectively to say, hey, here's the finest. You're on an intimate vessel. You can sashay off your vessel in 20 minutes, no matter where in the world you are. I told you I come from Norwegian. It can take you hours to get off your vessel, depending on what port of call you're in. And when you're only there for a short period of time, that's a bummer, especially when you travel so far around the world, what Regent does. So you have so much time, and then you have this amazing crew that can connect with you in such a unique manner on your clients or prospects for that manner, where it's truly heartfelt. It's not cookie cutter. And if I can share a quick story, I had one of my travel partners. She was an executive for one of our national accounts, and her daughter was a young girl at the time. They were in Europe on my favorite lady, Seven Seas Mariner, because she has a soul. But she's a mature lady, my ship. And they overheard, the suite attendant overheard them going back and forth. And the daughter didn't want to go into court with the mom the next day. So they found a way to convince her, if you just let her stay on board, we promise to take care of her. Now, we do have a children's program, our Mariners Club program that's available on select voyages. But on that particular one, it was not. So she allowed her to stay on board. So long story short, they taught her how to ballroom dance. They taught her how to waltz. And today she's in her late 20s. And guess what? She still waltzes and she still ballroom dances
Oh, wow.
because she learned on Regent. But the beauty of that story is I took it even a step further to say, guess what? You just set up my next generation luxury traveler. You talk about Gen Z, and because I have my own millennial and Gen Z and my own daughters, and they are ready for luxury. They're broke, but they're ready for luxury. And guess what? You just set them up. So they're going to work to achieve that. So it's really, how do you exceed today's traveler? I call them an elite traveler because luxury could be offensive depending on where you are in the nation. Some may frown upon it, thinking it's too frou-frou or snooty. So therefore, you say elite because you deserve the best.
Oh, wow. There's a lot to unpack here, but I loved so many things. First of all, thank you for naming the four different, demographic style of your sailors. So that's pretty powerful. And it puts a lot of things into perspective because luxury is a lot of people now are mentioning luxury for everything, but here it's what I call real luxury. Like it's a real thing. So I love that. I love when you mention that for someone, but why choosing luxury? Why choosing Regent? Because you deserve it. I love that part because a lot of people are working very hard all the time and they don't take a time to sit back and actually enjoy the different steps of the journey. So I love the fact to say, you know what? I deserve it. I will treat myself or my family for a trip that will be an experience and not just a destination. So I love that part as well. So thank you. A lot of golden nuggets there that for our audience, for our winners, they can take over and go for it.
I want to see if Nick could do ballroom dancing.
I don't want to see that.
They do lessons for $250 should they do that?
No, let's keep this part. If you can make that happen, you were really good. You're way better than I think you already are. That's funny. But the question I have, because I know Regent and you mentioned it, and I know so many people who sailed with Regent, and usually that's hard to put them somewhere else after Regent.
Yeah.
So it says a lot. But you guys go everywhere, right? You go everywhere around the world. I will ask a very hard question, but what would be the top 2-3 destinations that people who sail Regent like a lot tells you this is the top 2-3 destination that we love with Regent and why?
Well, this is going to blow your mind. Great question. So I'll start first by saying thank you so much to talk about the repeat guest satisfaction. You touched on that briefly.
Mhm.
So any given voyage, over 60% guests are going to be repeat guests. So that's number one. And that's a testament to the strength of the brand and consistency. That's the word you want to look for. Consistency. And it's one of the easiest sells. I tell you get the client to us, you're a prospect, your finest client, and we will take care of it. The other part is in recognizing that the number one destination for a first-time Regent, which is a major focus for our brand, is Alaska.
Okay.
You can sashay off your ship in less than 20 minutes. Of course, the excursions are included because on Regent, it's all inclusive. So that ultra luxury experience is a hassle-free travel. We're all suites. So there's a balcony view, no matter where you are on the ship in your suite. And our suites are anywhere from 300 square feet to over 4,000. So you also have space being the factor because one destination is the ship. Because we have guests that will sail because they love the crew. No matter where the ship is going, they love the crew. So they're going to sail on that ship. So the ship becomes a destination. So space is very important to this client. The other destination is our number one destination, which is the Mediterranean. Because with us, if you've ever seen my VTE, it's a Voyages to Explore. And I just happen to have one handy here. So it's my big book. And the new one is out. And I call it, it's like I'm dating myself, the old Sears catalog, right? But the way when people say, oh my goodness, that's heavy, that's really thick. And the way I position it is when you sail the world, you can't say that in 4 pages.
Yeah.
And it gets so overwhelming when you see the options we have for you to explore the Mediterranean. You're shut down, which is where your expertise comes in handy because you help them to narrow down destinations, or maybe they don't take one, they take two and combine it to make their own little mini grand voyage, right? Because we're not repeating itineraries back to back each week. So that's also the beauty of my world. So you may find one itinerary and decide, oh, but I want to add this one and I want to connect this one. Although I know the sweet spot for my active explorer, the number one persona, is 12 nights. Then they begin to climb the wall a little, because if you think about it, you book in that trip and you have maybe 2 nights on the front end of the cruise for your pre, and then you may have a night or two on the back for your post, and then the cruise is 12 nights. So that's where it's knowing the audience to find that sweet spot. Although everybody has Starlink and all of our vessels do, and they can stay connected no matter what, because a lot are still business owners, a lot still want to have a pulse what's happening back home with their businesses, whether they're a part of the organization or whatever the case may be. Although they should disconnect, they still want to have a pulse. So again, those are your destinations. And I'm sure that's most unique for some. But again, it's knowing this client and just listening closely.
No, that makes total sense. And I'm a little reticent to ask this question only because I'm very hungry, but can you tell us a little bit about the dining on Regent?
Oh, wow. Okay. So the way I love to position this is, my sisters are at Oceania, right? And my sisters are labeled as the Foodies Cruise Line. So we did a brand refresh the end of December of last year. So now Regent has a new logo. So just like we wanted to be distinctive in that manner, to tell our story in a more bold manner. And I go down this route because we have a brand house. Like we have a foundation, and the foundation is, of course, the all-inclusive upscale luxury experience. And all of the pillars, from luxurious accommodations to heartfelt hospitality, Epicurean perfection is one of the pillars. Having world-class chefs to deliver some of the most unique and exquisite cuisine that will delight anyone's palate, no matter what your dietary needs may be, which is what I love. Now, the interesting part is post-pandemic, there has been limitations regarding kosher meals oftentimes. So it's great to communicate that in advance to our reservations team, which is usually the one-stop connection with us when booking with Regent. But still being able to cater to this client's culinary delights, and then having on board, options from Pride 7, our steakhouse, whether it be Settimari, our Italian venue, whether it be Chartreuse, my French bistro, or if it's Pacific Rim, my Pan Asian fusion venue, or it could be La Veranda, which is a fancy name for my buffet. And then, of course, you have my flagship restaurant, which is Compass Rose. And that's where everybody ends up, folks. As much as they may harass you to call us to get their dining reservations secured, they all get on board and they end up in the main restaurant, Compass Rose, because the ambiance is just so nice. And the menu selections are different each night. And also, you have choices from the specialty restaurants in Compass Rose. You meet guests, you mingle, and you make these new friends of a lifetime, and you want to dine over fine cuisine. And again, it's very relaxed. We're finding that, for instance, some of these travelers today, they don't want to be stuffy. They don't want to come all dressed fancy. They may want to wear their black jeans. So you're finding a relaxed dress attire, because that's important today for this elite traveler. And, they may dress in the boardroom and for meetings, but this CEO wants to wear his black jeans. My friend, Miss Lori Foster from Dream Vacations, presented that concept to me about a year or so ago, 2 years ago, when she had some clients. She booked like 5 suites of clients traveling to Alaska. And these gentlemen were, of course, all executives, but this is what they want. So it's listening, it's taking action, and we're learning that where it was a fine line. But sometimes you have to cover color outside the line to exceed the client's expectations. So the culinary, I'm telling you, it's when it comes to whether it's seafood, whether it's sushi, or whether it's a lobster roll, or even just nachos or truffle fries. you will not be disappointed, and including pizza. You will not be disappointed. There's something for everyone, and even in suite dining. I didn't mention that option. So whether you order from one of the venues or specialty restaurants, which every guest will have the option to dine in the specialty restaurants. But like I mentioned, they always end up in Culver's Roast because the ambiance there is so beautiful. And when you come on board, look at how I'm speaking this into existence. When you all come on board with us and you sail with us, you'll see for yourselves that seeing is believing. There's no filter, and you won't be disappointed. I promise. Your palate will be dancing in the gym.
Woo! I'm in.
I know. I know. Like I said, I was a little reticent to ask because now I'm even more hungry before.
No, that sounds fabulous. We are, oh my God, time flies when we have fun.
Yeah.
I really want to ask you about the excursion part of it. So I know you mentioned that it's all inclusive. It's like, luxuries experience. You don't have to really add anything to it. But on the excursion part, do you have some special excursion that are very popular on certain destination? You cannot tell them all, but if you can pick a couple that resonate with the people sailing with you guys.
Well, you know that it's interesting that you say that because it varies, right? Each group that's traveling with us, 1 week it may be this, the next itinerary it may be something else. From Europe to Asia, for instance, if you're looking at our itineraries or Japan, you have Angkor Wat, number one pre-destination. So it really depends on Africa. If you're doing our Cape Town round trip, or maybe it's Rio to Cape Town or reverse.
Rio.
Winelands and safaris is most popular in terms of pre, because keep in mind, the guest looks for during cruise as well as post cruise. The thing about Regent is, of course, our excursions are inclusive, right? But we also have the Regent Choice, our executive collection, where you may have that client that wants to do something off the beaten path. They may want to take a helicopter and jet off somewhere. So we also customize excursions. That's why it's not really one size fits all. You may have that client that wants to spend another $30,000 in private shore excursions because they want private car and driver. They want private culinary experiences and a port of call. They may want to rent a Springer van if they're out over in Rome. Whatever the case may be, region can definitely, or the objective or whatever their, let me say, fancy may be, region can definitely check the box. Now, it's funny because today it's like when you become a victim of your own success, and this is in the spirit of transparency, because of our inclusive concept, and because this traveler and the brand is growing in terms of more booking with us, which is why the fleet is increasing. So we had introduced booking a year in advance. And what we learned is, see, Nick and Will, you book and you're traveling and you secure your excursions, but I book later, months later. And you decide, well, we're going to join you. We didn't like that excursion. Well, my system currently doesn't allow you to cancel and to book the new excursion. So we found that to be the case. And what happens ultimately is you're holding space, then you would book the new excursion, but you're still holding the original. And guests would either be deterred from booking because they can't secure their excursion where you're actually not going. And then the other phase of the problem was on board. We had no shows. So what we're doing is overselling excursions, and we've reduced the number of nights and how far out, so that it goes down, I think, to 210 and 180 now for our silver guests and above and guests and concierge level and above. So that's why sometimes it's important where they're asking, should we upgrade or not? So there's many components to, again, making sure we can secure what they're looking for. Time of booking is important because the excursions are what guests seek after. So when it comes to securing that right excursion, and oftentimes they have to wait. Listen, yes, they're spending, a substantial amount of money and don't want to wait till they get on board. But oftentimes that happens because the demand is so great, but then people change their minds. And it's just the nature of us having the ability to choose. It's choice, something we all value the most. So we have ways to work through it, but it's just sharing why sometimes that could be a pain point because it's the number one seller. The unlimited, let me be specific. short excursions because it's not just one, where some say, oh, we include short excursions, but it's unlimited. And think about when you're in port overnight, and for some of our immersive itineraries, you're in port up to 3 nights. Oh, wow. So the unlimited excursions makes all the difference. And that's one of the key differentiators of Regent.
Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm just already projecting like different things and the experiences and just how fascinating that could be. Given everything that you shared, Shanel, was there something that you wanted to maybe lead with our listeners that we didn't ask, but you wanted to make sure they knew about the experience with Regent, and what would that be?
Sure, I would say luxury resonates differently with everyone. As I mentioned, for some, sometimes they find the word a little offensive. That's why oftentimes I'll say, listen, this elite traveler is what I would normally
Yeah.
say. Because luxury for each of you could be whether it's the accommodations, maybe it's the heartfelt hospitality. You just want that. y- It's that amazing white glove service. Maybe it's again the Epicurean perfection, or it could just simply be just that inclusive concept. So no matter what your fancy may be, Regent checks every box. And the number one reason why everyone travels with Regent is for the immersive exploration, where we're traveling to. So, traveling all around the world, I always say, explore the world with Regent. We will never disappoint you.
Perfect.
Love it.
Perfect. Well, we could keep talking for a while, I think, but we are on time. But we want to thank you so very much, Shanel, for sharing some time here with us and sharing all those golden nuggets about Regent. And I'm pretty sure a lot of our audience now are looking into, like booking their next cruise with you guys. So thank you again. I cannot wait to see, like what feedback we receive from this episode, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be overwhelming positive. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, a sincere thank you to Shanel with Regent. Just a lot of insight, just fascinating things that they can offer. And again, remember, if you're looking to make your dream vacation a reality, be sure to contact Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations, and be sure to subscribe, share, and follow. Hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did hosting it. And please be sure to join us next week for our next Wanderlust Wednesday. In the meantime, take care, winners.